Why? Whoa, wait a second. Camille's made it through.
Yes, the final ban was Varus, which, you know, understandable ban, except in the scenario that your red side and Camille is available. However, let's bring up this old chestnut of Fiora is the Camille counter. We just saw Shikari dominate on Fiora. It's open. Camille has been locked in, likely for Kerberos. They could go with this counter Fiora pick.
I think Fiora's fine. I don't think it's necessarily like a huge counter, but I definitely think it's like...
Well, that's certainly been the conversation of, like, it was touted as this counter, and it's like...
It's someone that Camille doesn't crush.
Yeah.
So you can go one-to-one with Camille as a Fiora and do well.
Well... I'm just going to interrupt you here because this is one heck of a second rotation. LeBlanc and Rengar locked in for XNX. I mean, even though Camille has got through for Cyclone, I still feel like XNX are winning the draft phase. Kha'Zix, though, does lighten the blow for Cyclone. I mean, are there any power picks that aren't making it through this draft?
No. I mean, apparently not.
When you look at the bans, actually,
you could take
none
Jhin.
of them are actual tier 1 picks. Aside from maybe the Shen. Graves is kind of a B tier. Jace is a flex. Then you've got Lee Sin, Kayle, and Varus. Varus is obviously a tier 180 carry, but it's not the only tier 180 carry.
So they did lock in Jhin, so they probably take the tier 180 carry apart from Jhin right now. This is a really weird draft phase. Like, Cyclone...
There's the Fiora.
Yeah, okay. I mean, so now you go through and you just start to limit options in the bot lane, right? So
I mean, what a first 6 picks. This is going to be a ridiculous
This is a crazy draft phase.
Just look at the sheer damage on both of the sides here. This is not just like a... You know you have a lot of games where there's a lot of squishy players, but this is not only that, but also just sheer burst damage on both sides.
So XNX now ban Ryze Corki, I would say, because you have a Jhin lock-in instead of the...
Instead of the mid lane.
And actually now, basically, Cyclone are playing, we've got a tier 180 carry, we limit we limit the 80 carries. XNX are saying, we've got a tier 1 mid, you haven't picked your mid yet. Okay, Katarina comes through. That's interesting, because that means that Cyclone have the option of Corki for Rippy, which every mid laner worth their salt will be playing Corki right now. So, unless XNX of some way, shape or form going to pick Corki 80 carry, like, this makes it a very easy pickup right now.
I'm a big fan, but I wouldn't recommend that these guys pick what I'm a big fan of. So, well, it'll be interesting to see what they first pick. Final ban, you'd expect another 80 carry to be taken away here. Actually, just going to forfeit the ban on that one. So, I mean, that is a strategy we have seen a small amount of.
If you were picking, if you were banning an 80 carry, would you ban Caitlyn against XNX, given that it's up there as one of the last remaining tier 180 carries? The fact that they are hovering over Misfortune and potentially thinking about locking in makes me think that that's likely going to be more like an 80 carry Misfortune, which we have seen in professional play over the last week. Is actually 8 games and 7 wins. So 8 games and 7 wins for Misfortune over the last week in professional play.
I'm going to completely steal your factoid here, but you saw a tweet from Prosphere last game. He was second on the damage chart, right, on Misfortune support. You give that baby damage, and suddenly you skyrocket.
It flexes as well, right? Because you can pick Misfortune here and say, well, if they pick Malzahar or Zyra, which are left open, then we know that we've already got the counter. So those are the two most popular supports picked above Karma. We know that we've got the counter for those. So we just pick Misfortune now, and then if we want to put Misfortune for Prosphere on the support role, we can. We could also give it over to Inax in the 80 carry role, which, like I said, is not as popular as the other 80 carries, but it has had 8 professional games played and 7 professional wins. And the Corki comes through, which is what we expected.
Now just a support lock-in remaining for the side of XNX.
Or 80 carry, I suppose.
Well, yeah, I suppose either one, but they basically have the pick of the litter when it comes to support specifically, assuming that Inax sticks with that Misfortune. I mean, Zyra is still available, which you can expect. Malzahar. Yeah, so Malzahar is going to be the pick. It is going to be Inax on that 80 carry Misfortune. So we've got some interesting lineups. I think that's a fair one to say. You've got Corki in the mid lane here that somehow made it through. You've got Karma coming through for Camilius, which that's a pick we didn't really see that much recently.
Let's go down the lines, right? Tier 1 top Cyclone, Tier 1 jungler, Tier 1 mid laner, Tier 1 80 carry, and you
Tier 2 maybe.
Probably argue in between Tier 1, Tier 2 support. Karma is still the 3rd most popular support in professional play, so you can definitely say she's up there. You've got a counter or rather an even matchup-ish counter pick, you would say, from XNX. You've got a Tier 1 jungler, a Tier 1 mid laner, a Yeah, again, I don't know what you'd call
it's
Miss
it's like a fringe pick, right?
Yeah,
it's
a fringe pick.
It doesn't necessarily fit in the tiering system. I mean, that system in general is flawed, but it's one of these that you pick in specific scenarios or specific team compositions.
Yeah, but again, it's the remaining high damage output lethality AD carry that is left on the table. Miss Fortune always rears her head when armor penetration becomes a thing, and she has been doing so in this current meta. So
yeah, when Black Cleaver's good, Miss Fortune is good.
Well, yeah.
It's one of those, and obviously rounding out that composition is going to be that Malzahar support once again. Very powerful pick. We do have the fan vote in now. 63% in favor of Cyclone.
Cyclone got a lot of fans.
I think Cyclone. I think the fans at home voting with their hearts here on this one.
Yeah, again, the first 12 minutes of that game, Cyclone looked good. They genuinely did. I think they actually looked like they could potentially put XNX on tilt. But
I mean, not to belittle Cyclone at all. For the majority of that game, Cyclone looked good.
Yeah.
Just XNX looked in a field of their own.
Yeah. I think, like we said, up until Fiora got that huge lead over the Shen and found that kill and the kill onto Ashe, it actually looked like a game that could have gone either way off the back of a good team fight for either squad. But XNX managed to just push it to the next level. Now we're going to see Kerberos on Camille, arguably one of the best top laners in the game, despite the nerfs, still very strong. And he's on a carry, so he can now go toe-to-toe with Shikari. He won't be locked into a bad matchup where he's going to get split pushed to death for the entire game. This is going to be very interesting.
You can ban away the Kayle if you want. You can even ban away Darius. But if you allow the Camille to get through pick and ban, Kerberos is going to be very, very happy to go into that top lane with a champion that I don't like to say this word, but an arguably overpowered champion up in that top lane.
She's definitely strong.
I feel like overpowered is a phrase that's not really used very much anymore. It's maybe out of fashion, but
she's strong.
She is
a very strong
in
champion.
a world of her own.
However, the Fiora does have these individual micro mechanics that means that she could do well against Camille. Remember, you can riposte when Camille tries to use the wall grapple and stun you, and then you stun her. So if you time it right, you end up stunning her. You've got a little window to make that happen, but it can happen. So then you can eventually use that and then proc a free vital and move away. So there are trades that Fiora can make that go in her favor, which give her that slight edge in the matchup. But again, Camille is very highly mobile. Camille functions better in a team fight, and she can still split push effectively. So Camille is a more versatile pick than Fiora.
This mid lane matchup is going to be... I mean, first of all, it's a treat because we've got both Corki and LeBlanc coming in here. LeBlanc basically 100% ban rate in competitive play, and Backlund's managed to grab that one for himself. I was raving about Backlund's mechanical play. LeBlanc is the champion to show that off on. He didn't have a stellar performance last game. Rippy ripped him apart. This time, it's a matchup where LeBlanc can be aggressive, but Corki, he's known as this lane player.
Well, yeah, Corki just is... very, very safe, but also has the ability to turn things on its head, especially post-6. When you get Corki post-6, he becomes a bit of a monster. There's a reason he's the most popular. Oh my word, Camillus going
Flash
in.
forward, XNX is in trouble. Root lands, they're going to have to use the heal. Will they stay alive? Berserker actually getting very low on this one. Prosper is trying to trade the heals. And it's going to be all for summoners from the side of Cyclone for 3 summoners on XNX. Shikari goes down though. Kerberos. What counter pick, he says.
Yeah, exactly. That was monstrous. I have no idea how that ended up happening because of all the action in the bot lane, but somehow Kerberos comes out on top. 2 flashes burn. We said it was going to be a bit of a brawl between these 2 teams, and my word, it is.
Yeah, I foolishly thought I could take a sip of water there. And immediately, Camillus goes, no munchables, I'm flashing forwards, I'm going in. We've already got First Blood up in this top lane. Phenomenal start for Kerberos. He's going to be exceptionally pleased with that one, especially considering he does have to go against that Fiora, which is a difficult matchup for the Camille. And he's going to have that a little bit of a buffer, that 400 gold extra in his pocket to work with.
Whoa.
Rippy is in trouble. Backlund looking to prove himself. Only tanks 1 tower shot though. I thought he was going to get a second. That could have been really bad news. But both summoners burnt. Look across the scoreboard. How many summoners are burnt? There is just a TP and a flash available for Cyclone, and 2 flashes for XNX. This is ridiculous.
This is pretty crazy. Demo coming in here, but Backlund. Whoa, he's going to go back in on it as well.
Backlund just getting a bit of bonus damage down there. You've got
That's
to
cheeky.
wonder
That's
right
cheeky.
now, Demo and Sankus, you have to capitalize. There are so few flashes on the board. In fact, the majority of flashes right now are in the hands of junglers. So they have to capitalize on this. They have to go and get these ganks.
Oh, no doubt about it. When you've got high damage output junglers who rely on good positioning or getting some sort of CC to help them out with their ganks, when everybody has lost their flashes, this is screaming free kills for a Kha'Zix and a Rengar. Like you said, you need to be looking to capitalize. Mid lane is going to be much safer for XNX though, because you have a LeBlanc and also Rippy with the Valkyrie. It's going to make that lane quite hard to actually find a kill in. But bot lane and top lane, those are prime targets, especially for Cyclone, because Kerberos already has that 1v1 advantage, despite being behind in CS somehow, by the way. He actually still has that 1v1 advantage versus Shikari.
Yeah, and I think that's one of those things about when you're in the side of the lane that's going to continuously shove in. Sometimes it can be difficult to get all of the CS because of just the sheer damage that the minion wave is doing. And
yeah.
Camille, you know, not a bad CSer, but certainly the tactical sweep isn't the greatest tool for CSing because it doesn't do a huge amount of damage. And sometimes you can find yourself in tricky situations. Backlund again going in for damage. Rippy so low, but Demo is looking to capitalize. Backlund so close to going down, and Demo will pick him off. Backlund actually just walked forwards there.
Yeah, I think he knew that Demo was going to either just jump or try and flash or something along those lines, so he just felt like he was dead either way. I actually think that you could have tried to... I think you could have tried to force the flash, right? Yeah, so, I mean, I don't think it was necessary that you had to just kind of sit there. Maybe he thought...
I think jump was available. I think Demo just walked into lane.
Yeah, or maybe he thought that he was in range of taste their fear or something like that. I don't know.
Who knows, mate? Who knows what was going through Backlund's
Who
mind?
knows?
I think, actually, what might have been going on is the fact that he has been doing a good job against Rippy in this lane so far. Rippy, honestly, had his way with Backlund last game, and I think Backlund may be thinking to himself, this is not good, boys. This is not a good start to the game.
Sankus is here. Kerberos looks like he's wanting to be aggressive.
Yeah, and this will slowly but surely push out Sankus channeling his base, but
Demo's here as well, though.
Demo smells a rat. He knows what's going on. But Kerberos is level 6. Shikari isn't. This is the opportunity for Cyclone if they can get the Hextech ultimatum. I think Shikari just trying to bait Kerberos in, but also inadvertently escaping Demo. Sankus will recall in the end, which means nothing too crazy should go down unless Demo wants to go for a tower dive.
I think this is what they are thinking about here. Just get the damage down, put as much pressure on. You have that Hextech ultimatum. Demo is here now, but Sankus is rapidly heading back up towards this lane because of the threat of a tower dive. This could go wrong for Cyclone. They're going to have to be careful.
Yeah, they do. I think just for now getting some pressure onto this tower. Shikari just trying to hit away at Kerberos while he can. Takes a tower shot and a bowler, but nothing too crazy.
I think that was really clever from Cyclone because Shikari was not showing any signs of wanting to back off from that. Oh my word, the damage from the double up there.
Ooh, XNX gets it traded back though with that bouncing grenade.
And yeah, I think they knew that Shikari wasn't really sure. Oh, okay, what?
Sankus will get ulted here. It's going to be grand challenge onto Demo, but look how low Sankus is. Any little bit of damage, just stiff breeze would finish him off. But they can't go under the tower once again.
They can't. Slim escapes there for Sankus. XNX doing a great job of holding on there because it could have gone wrong for Shikari, but like I said, he wasn't playing defensively as he should have done for a threat of a tower dive. So again, like I think Cyclone smelled the rat, like you said, and they didn't want to go for the tower dive without waiting to see whether Sankus was going to turn up.
This has been a much quieter game than what we saw in Game 1. Just 2 kills so far, Cyclone with both of them. So again, the early kill lead, the early gold lead going the way of Cyclone. They are certainly comfortable in the early game. This time, basically no CS differences across the board. You've got obviously minor numbers. Oh, Berserker actually in a lot of trouble. Look at the damage coming out from Voidlings. That forces a heal. You know you're in a weird meta when the support can just walk up to the AD carry and out-trade.
Yeah, I mean, it is Malzahar versus Jhin. I mean, Jhin does not trade very well in the early game like that. I mean, he's got very slow basic attacks.
Yeah.
And you just have, I mean, especially if you get Malefic Visions on your target, I mean, that just crushes them.
And 9 Voidlings chomping away.
The 16 Voidlings that Malzahar can spawn at once just appear.
Oh dear. Well, we do have a pause coming through, in case any of you hadn't noticed.
I didn't know what this screen meant, but thank you for telling me.
You're most welcome. Did you know when the pause counter gets down to 0 on Tournament Realm,
It doesn't go anywhere.
No, it actually keeps
goes
counting.
to minus.
Starts
Oh, goes
counting in
minus,
minus
yeah.
numbers. So that's good.
I ruined that one.
Yeah, we do have a bit of a disconnect. Not in terms of the player communication, just in terms of one of them coming off of the server for a second.
Do you know what? I also didn't know what disconnect meant. So you've now highlighted what a pause screen is, and also what disconnect means.
You're most welcome, my friend. Let's take a look at some of the CS differences, because I just mentioned a couple of minutes ago, as the audio guy is currently mocking me, as you can tell. I mentioned that the CS numbers were very similar just a moment ago. We now have a 10 CS lead in both the top lane and the bottom lane for XNX.
And again, that's kind of what the power of Misfortune. If you can land double ups onto your targets readily and efficiently, I mean, that you can't outtrade that. The double up damage, especially if you get it on the bounce, is just insane. I think I remember about a year and a half ago, there was a really cool Reddit thread that was published about Misfortune and how to land her double ups correctly. It goes in a 180-degree arc past its first target. I think here champions in the middle 60 degrees, sorry, are prioritized. If it can't find a champion in the middle 60 degrees, it takes a champion in the side 60 degrees, and then it just goes down to minions in that target range as well. It's a really interesting way that the Misfortune double up works, but I think it still stands as that is the correct method about aiming it. I
mean, she's not really had any significant changes in quite some time, so I would expect it to be the same. Repeat, taking a good chunk again from Backlund. Backlund's been doing a good job to get some pressure out in this mid lane, but obviously down one kill. Prospere hanging out in that mid lane brush, but he's not going to be able to find anything too soon. Ocean Drake available right now, and actually demo up towards the top side of the map. This could be an opportunity for XNX.
I actually think once that riposte is down, that Kerberos has a really good opportunity to just land it. I mean, he forced a riposte out of Shikari very quickly there. As soon as that riposte is down, try and go for a wall grapple and get the stun. Demo's going to get locked up or seen by a ward here, so that will just ruin the potential kill pressure on Shikari.
And you surely actually go down to the bottom lane here, because XNX, they've just seen Demo up top. They maybe could have tried to force the issue on Dragon, but I feel like since Demo immediately backed away, it would have been very risky for them to go for.
Yeah, but you do have that Prosphere flash engage soon. When he's going to hit level 6, you'll have that flash Nether Grasp, so you always have that double up with Sankas and his ultimate, which, I mean, look at that. That's exactly how he's doing it. It's insane the amount of damage you can output if you're getting that double up hit on the right targets.
And that was the very edge of range as well. It's not that long range of an ability, but it does demand a lot of respect from your opponents. Demo using his ultimate there. Not 100% sure why.
I think was he expecting Sankas to walk into his jungle?
Yeah, perhaps. Or expecting mid laners to rotate, something similar. But not going to be able to achieve too much with it. And actually, I mean, XNX don't know. They didn't see any of that, so there shouldn't be too much that comes off the back of it. But Sanka's down in his bottom lane tri-brush. He's looking for something. He wants to make something happen. And it could well be a tower dive. We've already seen an under-tower situation in the top lane.
Demo's here, though. This could go awfully wrong for XNX if they don't play this correctly.
Yeah, Backlund is on the scene as well, though. Demo won't have his ultimate here. Is Inax going to use that bullet time? They're going for Berserker. He will be finished off. Flash does nothing. Sankus gets himself the second one as Demo takes a huge amount of damage. Will be finished off. Backlund grabs the kill, and Sankus, he's been locked up, but there's nothing for Kerberos to do. Nowhere for him to go. Backlund won't get the kill because it's Inax grabbing the credit. 2-0-2 on the Misfortune, and there's the first tower of the game.
They executed that perfectly. Even as just a Kha'Zix, there really isn't much that you can do in that situation when you already have a kill before he even enters the fray. XNX with a very well coordinated tower dive, and I think Kerberos was just a little bit too late to the party. He needed to be teleporting down there in anticipation of the tower dive that they were all expecting. Can't do it after it's already happened because the burst damage coming out from Prospere and Inax basically took Berserker, or was it Camillus, out of the picture before that even started.
And that, I mean, that was a huge swing for XNX. Like, we just went from a basically even game to 2.5, almost 3,000 gold for the likes of XNX. We're just 12 minutes in. Like, that is a phenomenally massive lead. The items are now going to be finished up across the board. You've got Morello in the mid lane. You've got already a Yumu's Ghostblade, as well as that serrated Dirk for Inax. Let's mention a bonus longsword on top of that. He is well on the way to Edge of Night already.
Yeah.
You've got on the likes of Sankas, he's already enchanted his jungle item, plus a Ninja Tabby. Like, across the board, the whole of XNX just got this huge increase to their damage output.
And furthermore, any advantage that Kerberos had in the top lane is kind of almost gone at this point.
Yeah.
And he's gone for a Triforce rush here. He hasn't actually thought about picking up a Tiamat. So, you know, Shikari might actually be in a position where he can push that wave. Although, speaking of Shikari, he looks like he's going pretty low. Kerberos actually just forced him away there. That is the one problem with having a Tiamat build versus the Triforce build. You actually don't excel in trades.
Yeah, had to use his flash there as well, which not huge for Fiora, but certainly, as you pointed out earlier, if Kerberos can force out a riposte, that's when the situation starts to get really dicey.
I think XNX will have that wave shove in the top lane as well. So you're going to have this 2v2 matchup that Cyclone have put themselves back into, where XNX and Prosper had that wave shove ability, and now they're going to go even further. And look at this. Because of the kind of almost lack of vision, there is only a singular ward lighting up that blue side jungle. I think Cyclone felt, especially with Demo showing bot lane, they were not prepared to face another tower dive, and Berserker and Camillus just head all the way back. There wasn't even a tower dive being threatened by XNX, but because of the lack of vision I think that Cyclone had on the map, and they didn't really know the whereabouts of Sankas, they were not prepared to risk it because that wave was shoving. Now, remember, when you make a lane swap like this, the natural progression is to then reinitiate another tower dive to then get another structure. Actually, Berserker and Camillus said, well, we're going to take the tower dive out of the picture. We know that you're going to shove into us, so we're just going to give the tower up anyway and kind of save our lives, which is the sort of the middle outcome. The best outcome is not having it happen at all. The worst outcome is getting dived and losing the tower.
I mean, as you word it, right now, XNX are like a Storm's Rage, and Cyclone are just not there.
I know you're raising your eyebrows at me.
There is a World of Warcraft reference.
Was it?
Storm's Rage? Storm Rage? Illidan?
Storm Rage, Illidan, Storm Rage, you were not prepared.
Yeah. Get it,
See,
guys?
I didn't play World of Warcraft. I haven't played World of Warcraft for about 6 years, you know.
Really?
Yeah, it's been a while. I mean, I think I had a go at Warlords of Draenor and didn't like it.
I thought you were a big Warcraft guy.
I was
making it.
I was until...
That was for you, kid.
I was until Cataclysm. So I played in Vanilla.
Okay, well, this is going to be a long journey if we go down this road.
It was only going to be about 5 seconds. Okay. I played in Vanilla, I quit in the Burning Crusade, then came back in Lich King, and then quit in Cataclysm. There you go. Boom, 5 seconds.
As a good friend of mine always used to say, cool story, bro. Anyway, back to League of Legends. We have, once again, 2,500 gold lead for XNX. 1-0 up in towers. They've got that Ocean Drake to talk about as well. And we already mentioned the item spikes. They've already been starting to rack up this gold lead and turn it into physical damage. And look at the CS across the board as well. It's fairly even, but when you look at the AD carries, 30 CS lead for Inax. That is a huge lead at 15 minutes.
Well, they got dived, and Inax also gave up a huge wave in the top lane because they backed off from the tower. So he kind of did this to himself in some ways, but also a lot of it was facilitated by that dive they coordinated on the bot lane tier 1. Kind of expected at the back of this, but Misfortune is one of those AD carries that you give her an inch and she will take a mile. Although, speaking of this...
Prosper needs to run a mile at this point. He's going to be the first one to go down. Sankas exhausted immediately. Kurt Cole crits onto him, but will walk away with his life, and it's just going to be a 1-for-0. Prosper, the only one to drop.
Yeah, again, they were trying to shove very hard in the mid lane, but they kind of hadn't anticipated the potential engage of the Berserker ultimate coming out, the curtain call that Jhin has, obviously. But it's not really getting Cyclone anything other than a relief of pressure, because that's kind of what they have managed to achieve here. It's a relief of pressure more than anything. It will be difficult to shove this Corki in, by the way. It is a Corki. He can just clear waves with Phosphorus Bomb and his Rocket Barrage very, very rapidly.
And especially when Berserker roams to that lane as well, you've got... I mean, Jin's wave clear is almost incomplete. You can't instantly one-shot the wave, but with a Corki on top of it, there is no siege that's going to get through that because of how long range their wave clear as well.
Backlund just toying with his prey of Kerberos here in the side lane. Who are they going to put in the side lane matchup against Backlund? Because it doesn't feel like Corki or Rippy is willing to head down there to match up 1v1 with him in his side lane. And they've actually ended up somehow getting a mid lane tower take?
Yeah, XNX. I'm not really sure how they managed to just pull that one out of the bag and just walk up and take it as far as I could see.
Pulled a blinder, mate.
Gorgeous little play there coming out. And it's actually going to be Backlund What? 2/3, if not 3/4 of Camillea's HP just vanishes. Backlund, marvelous misfortune indeed, or should I say whatever champion that is. LeBlanc, it's going to be Kerberos who grabs a kill though as I stumble over my brainwaves.
What champion is this?
It's because I was trying to get into the team fight. What am I doing?
What team fight? That was just
it was just INX going down.
That was an execution. that was Camille doing what she does best. Hextech ultimatum on a squishy target and blowing them up.
I was trying to go into Backlund being a magician because he's on that skin of LeBlanc and making Camille's health vanish like a rabbit in a hat. That was where I was going with that.
But somehow you went,
but
whatever.
A team fight started while I was trying to work out how I was going to go about that, and it all just went to pot.
And then you just said whatever champion that is.
Yeah. Well, I started with misfortune. Shikari in a lot of trouble. Kerberos finds a 1v1. And I'm just going to start to actually play by play instead of talking out of my board.
What has happened? What's happened in this game?
Bullet time going to come on through. Berserker on the backline. Rippy going to be locked up, but will walk away with his life. Sanka's going 1v3 on this one. Dragon will be secured in the end. Demo grabs that one as Curtain Call comes on through. Sanka's dodging bullets. It's Matrix time here. Can he finish off? Can he dodge the crit? No, he can't. Flash is too late, but in the meantime, Demo is trying to flank around. Gets finished off himself.
Yeah, and actually you have to be careful because Backlund's chasing down.
Backlund's back on in and picks himself up a kill. Backlund making up for game one at this point. 3-1-3. Here comes Shikari on the Fiora. The flank comes through. Make that 5-1-3 as Backlund is way ahead of the game.
And an ace comes through as well. This will mean that XNX can shove in that bot lane. They will not feel too sore about losing that dragon if they can claim yet another tower on the map. Towers at 3 advantage here for XNX. Just like last game, they are managing to be better and quicker at taking these turrets off the map.
There are 2 players on Cyclone that are within 3 levels of Backlund. This guy is so far ahead, not just in XP, but when it comes to the gold as well. They are now 6,000 gold ahead as a team, and when you look at that mid lane matchup, 2,000 there. You've got a 2,000 gold lead, 2.5 in fact for INAX as well. This is starting to get out of control for the likes of Cyclone.
Yeah, and XNX put their foot down and have said 6,000 gold, we'll take that. We know that we're going to probably lose in that split push versus the Kerberos. Oh, wow, he's going in.
Goodbye, Inax. Hextech ultimatum, and Kerberos finishes off the kill. 100 damage there coming from his second proc on his Q. That is... yeah, that's a difficult one to escape from, certainly. Kerberos now going to be able to finish off this top lane tower. That's the outer ring of towers finally... Oh, no, sorry, that's just the... No, that is the outer ring.
That is now, yeah. That is with the middle lane tower going down. And actually, if you wanted a way from Cyclone to respond, picking off the AD carry instantaneously and then getting 2 turrets in response to the push that XNX just had is fantastic. It looks like maybe we're going to have a fight here, but I think Prosper's thought twice of it. Jin ultimate comes through. Yeah,
curtain call. Shikari the first one. Prosper second as he's so low and will be finished off. Everybody following up on that flash there. Backlund walks away with his life. It's just a singular pick onto Prosper.
Damn, what is going on here? Because XNX looked so in control and Cyclone have done what they've done doing best and just isolating key targets. Sanka's now dead.
Look at this, Cyclone. They were like, what do you mean we're down in kills? I don't think so. 9-9 is going to be the scoreline.
And they're going to
even things up.
They're going to get a tier 2 in this top lane. And the Backlund looks like he's going to say something about it, though, with a flank. But this should be a pretty easy tower take, and that'll even the towers up almost as well.
Yeah, it's a flank, but it's also a 4 versus 5 at best. Demo waiting for Backlund to have the audacity to walk forward. Backlund deciding against it in the end. A free tier 2. And a huge chunk of that 6,000 gold is gone now. Just a 2,000 lead for XNX. It's all just fallen apart.
It looked so good for them just 3 minutes ago, and somehow Cyclone turned it all on its head, and it was all about INAX getting caught out. That meant that top lane was free, and because of the response from XNX, they felt like they had to go and either protect that top lane. They moved their resources away from mid. They lose that mid lane tier 1, and that then allowed Cyclone to shove into the red side jungle of XNX. And look at that vision that they've got down. That vision allowed them to facilitate picks. And then XNX kind of just walked in one by one. I mean, XNX tried to look for a pick of their own, right? They were in that red brush looking for potentially a nethergrass to pick up an isolated target. And immediately they realized they were surrounded. They pulled out at the last moment. But again, Cyclone smelled blood and they tried to capitalize on it.
Well, what a swing of because to be honest, just 5 minutes ago, I was pretty much in the mindset of, okay, XNX are 2-0 in this series. Like, the game is all but done. Cyclone have very much turned that expectation around, and right now, in my head, everything rests in the hands of Backlund. I've been praising him this whole series, this entire season of the Premiership, because the guy has been superb. Rippy hasn't had as fun of a time this game. Yes, he's doing well, 2-1-4. He's just about keeping up in CS. But when you look at the other side of the board, it's not about what the mid lane matchup has been. It's about how well Backlund has done in the fights. Shikari actually doing not so well in the fights himself, looking for the grand challenge. Ultimatum will come down. Battle of the ultimates. The healing for Shikari though comes through. The 1v1 goes the way of Fiora.
Shikari back on this monstrous Fiora. Clutch play there. Yeah. Remember, when you use that precision protocol on the Camille, once that's gone, the damage is fairly lackluster. That is your biggest damage source. Getting a double Sheen proc with your precision protocol is the majority of her damage. Then remember, when she's in Hextech Ultimatum, she will do extra damage on basic attacks. But Fiora, if she's consistently landing her vitals, and the fact that she managed to proc the entire Grand Challenge just made it impossible for Kerberos to respond. Because Fiora almost does similar levels of damage to precision protocol when she hits a vital. So if you're hitting vitals more readily than Kerberos is getting precision protocol stacks, then you're winning in the duel.
And I mean, like, using the riposte to get one of the final procs of the Grand Challenge as well. I mean, Grand Duelist indeed. Like, fantastic stuff from Shikari. He's not been having a great game, and neither's Camilius. Gets locked up, will walk away with his life as Backlund will be chained himself. Curtain call onto Sanka's. Rippy has gone way too far on that one. Gives away a free kill to the cat. Inax jumping forwards as well. Demo baited in, walks away with his life. Now Kerberos going in. What is skirmish coming out here? Back and forth. It will be Berserker flashing forward. Gets up a kill for himself. Now Shikari split pushing in that bottom lane. Someone's got to go back.
Yeah, and actually the ultimate comes out from Sankas to try and delay the backs to give Shikari time here. However, no way that he was going to dive onto that tier 2 in the mid lane, so there's no way that he's going to give enough time for Shikari to get anything meaningful, but he will shove the lane in, and the pressure that shoving the lane in has created has allowed XNX to potentially work towards getting I think their second Mountain Drake of the game, I believe? Or it's definitely, no, it's an Ocean Drake they picked up first, so they're going to get 2 Drakes, but there'll be 1 Mountain Drake apiece now with the Ocean on top for XNX.
Yeah, so fairly even in Drakes. The Ocean not the biggest impact in these games. The gold gap, 2,500, which, you know, when we were talking about a 2,000 gold gap earlier on in the game, we were what, like 10 minutes in? We're now 25 minutes in, so that has diminished significantly. That means a lot less in the grand scheme of things. We do have quite a few big items across the board finished off now.
Yeah.
You've got Morello as well as a Death Cap, not to mention a Fiendish Codex for a little bit of extra CDR for Backlund. So he will start to just one-shot these characters. Like, if he can find Rippy, if he can find Berserker on their own, they will exist no longer. And when you look at the AD carries, both of them, with those 2 major lethality items, you've got a couple of Triforces finished off with heading towards those extra items on top of it, Black Cleavers across the board. We're starting to get to the point in the game now where when people start to get caught out, they will be punished very heavily. It goes back to what we said in Champion Select. There are far too many Tier 1 champions in this game for anyone to get away with mistakes.
Absolutely. Rippy also is working towards, I think it's his Hextech Gunblade, but he's actually fairly behind in terms of overall items. He's still a little way away from that Cutlass, and not quite at the stage where he can pick up the Gunblade yet. Once he hits the Gunblade spike, however, suddenly his rockets become that much more impactful. Shikari's going to get warded out here. He's going to go straight in onto Kerberos.
Yeah, Shikari just looking for 1v1s at this point, but Sanka's... I'm not sure if that was a misclick. I feel like he was right-clicking towards Kerberos and hit a minion.
I was thinking maybe he was wanting to jump to the minion to throw a bowler, but not quite the case. There you go. Gunblade's been finished.
Never mind, Sankas. Gunblade will be finished off. Already has that X-Drinker as well. Shikari will be denied the base hit. Hextech Ultimatum follows the flash. It's a 1v1, but not for long because Demo has the damage onto those isolated targets. And a little bit of revenge there for Kerberos.
What a brilliantly timed, oh my word, and now Backlund with that Hex Deck Gunblade coming out on Rippy.
He's used all of his mobility, flash as well on top of everything else. None of the bullets are landing though, there wasn't vision, so just guessing in the dark. Backlund escapes with his life, but it cost him a summon.
And now there's going to be Cyclone saying Backlund is low, maybe we can force this Baron because Shikari's dead and he doesn't have teleport. Look at that!
Oh my
goodness!
Double kill! What was that? That was ridiculous! Prospere will surely go down here. Kerberos trying to trade, but he's going to drop as well. That is going to be Malefic Visions going on to Rippy. Inax is looking for more right now. Rippy trying to escape. Blastco pulls him away, but Berserker, the damage! There was a third with an auto attack. Inax is terrifying.
That was just destructive. And now XNX pulling the reverso Baron that they have done in the previous game as well. I wish I could see that again. That was just insane. I mean, we're gonna see it again.
Look at this damage. Just look. There's no escape. When you're in Baron Pit, you can't get away from that.
That's what makes Miss Fortune so powerful in these kind of situations. That was just ridiculous damage output. And now she's got the Duskblade as well. So if she gets a double up onto a key target, and that's going to be she's almost like an assassin AD carry at this point in time. What a ridiculous amount of damage that she just dealt there, along with Baron, obviously. But bloody hell!
I'm just giggling away here at how ridiculous that was. Like, this game has just been a game of swings because we saw that the goal gap got entirely closed up by Cyclone, or just about. And now XNX have flipped that onto his head once again. They managed to get the Baron for themselves, which is almost like a bonus on top of that team fight. I mean, how do you weather the storm here, Cyclone? How do you survive this Baron buff demo?
Backlund's got to be careful.
Yeah, he is just going to blast going out of there. Walks away with his life.
Backlund seemed to know what was up, though. He kind of had an idea because he didn't commit to that tri-brush area. Again, Vision's actually been fairly low at this point in time for both teams, to be honest. I mean, especially looking at Cyclone, they've got a little bit of vision of their own blue side jungle and a little bit around the Baron pit, but kind of all coming up trumps for XNX. They've got that aggressive vision in the red side. That's where they're looking to rotate around, especially with that tier 2 mid up. And now with the LeBlanc, this is the strategy that they've been trying to employ the entire game. They really wanted to make this 1-3-1 work, but they were getting dragged into the dirt a lot of times because there was so many skirmishes happening left, right, and center. But with the Baron, it suddenly becomes that much easier.
It's almost like XNX were trying to force this 1-3-1, and then Inax was like, do you know what? All right, you want a team fight? This is how team fights go. Do you want to let us 1-3-1 now? And Cyclone were like, okay, you can 1-3-1.
He said, yeah, basically, I think that summed it up quite nicely. Cyclone were like, no, you're going to play on our terms. And then X said, no, your terms were our terms the entire time.
That's not how this one's going. Sankas has been found out. The control ward wasn't able to spot out that blue ward. Look at that little bit of placement. Hide it behind the tree.
Hide it behind the tree, boys.
Rippy takes a huge chunk, but that is a great pickup here for Cyclone. A minute ago, I was asking how they weather the Baron right now, how they weather the storm. Picking up a kill on Sankas is certainly a way forward.
That's the power of Camille as well. You think you're safe, but suddenly two walls get jumped at the same time, although Kerberos actually has to QSS out of there.
Yeah, but is also Camille. So
yeah, true.
After the QSS, as good as flashes.
Also, look at the pickup for Prosper this time round. Not going for Leandries like we saw on Camilius on the. Oh my goodness!
Huge trade of damage right now. Rippy, I think he channeled that before it was too late. The vision isn't there. He doesn't know the backline wasn't there. Dodge it, duck it, dip and a dive in, but he can't escape. It will go the way of Berserker there. Mid laner for mid laner.
He obviously can't dodge a ball. Because he can't dodge the bullet side of it. Anyway.
He can dodge a wrench, but he obviously can't dodge a curtain call.
Yeah.
Can he dodge a wrench, though? We've not even seen a Heimerdinger in competitive for years.
And again, his wrenches are basic attacks, so you can't dodge them. Heimerdinger has got 100...
Well, that depends if you're playing Jax.
True.
Shots fired.
Shots fired. So there is like a 99.9% chance that you will hit your Heimerdinger. A wrench, but...
Well, Jax is semi-meta, actually.
Kind of,
seen it.
We've seen it against things like Fiora. We've seen it against things like Camille. So yeah, Jax has been seen a little bit.
He would have fit in this game pretty well. Good job.
I'm actually gonna take a quick look because I want to see whether Jax has been played in the last week, which he hasn't.
I've played him in the last week.
Darius.
Really nice.
Darius has been played.
Oh, here we go. Rippy has been caught up by the Nether Grasp. And well,
Renekton's had 3 games, believe it or not.
do you know what? This game so far has been very much a matter of each team gets a lead and then, or closes the gap, and then immediately someone just gets picked out. Someone gets caught out of position, punished for it, and that lead's immediately gone.
Well, Shikari's actually going to join the team here. He's going to be the one.
Wow, look at the damage. Berserker forced to use both summoners just in trade of an ultimate. Bullet time secures them not only 2 summoners, but an inhibitor as well. Sankas will get the ultimatum. Demo's in the backline, but he's exhausted. Flashing away. It is 1 kill for the side of Cyclone, but immediately turns into a double for XNX. Camilius has to flash away as Shikari putting so much pressure down. He's already got his J. He's unkillable.
XNX the God showing us why his religion is worth praising. Just monstrous on this lethality misfortune this time round. Maybe overextending here, but won't actually go down.
Backlund is able to back up his AD carry right there. He's like, okay, XNX is overextended. I'll just quickly one-shot Camilius, and that'll sort out the situation. Gets the second one as well. In fact, it's Shikari that gets it. And that will be the game going the way of XNX. It went from even Stevens just 5 minutes ago to almost a dominant victory. 10,000 lead for XNX as they close this series out 2-0.
I feel like that's been the case with XNX